Hi, I'm Katie Kempner, and welcome to Perspectives, here for another year at Advertising Week. So excited to be here. Perspectives is a series of inspiring conversations with remarkable working women who are leading busy and exciting lives. And no pressure as my first one, but my first guest today is Kalina Gendel of the Gendel Girls. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for stopping by in this very crowded and exciting space.
I know, I couldn't even believe when I first came in, are we ever going to get in?
Well, tell us a little bit about your company, which sounds so interesting and cool.
So where do I start? So we're a group of 4 women, all family members, my mom and my 2 other sisters. And we are the family that's behind Breezy's, which is QVC's #1 intimate brand on air. And it's a family company, and we just keep on trying to find new and innovating ways to reinvent the wheel that are bras and panties.
And your position, you're the COO?
I'm the COO, which is jack of all trades but master of none. You know what I mean. I'm always the one that's kind of putting out the fires and trying to figure out how to problem solve. But I'm also the numbers girl. Ask me numbers from even 6 years ago, and I still remember them.
You need one of those.
You do.
You always need
for
one of
sure.
those. So one of the things that I had mentioned to you briefly before we started doing this is, coming here, I had read an article in the Atlantic about working women and how, as they get more and more successful, people within their firm, even though supposedly women are supporting women, don't seem to like them.
Which is a very interesting conundrum that we've set up for ourselves.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, the only people I believe at this point that are keeping us down are ourselves. And I saw this wonderful video on Facebook that was a little cartoon of a woman pushing another woman up, and it kept on going up like a ladder. And I think that the more and more we are there to support each other and to give each other high fives, as opposed to judging and saying, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Everyone lives their lives differently. I put my career and my kids in my #1 spot. Sometimes they change, sometimes they change out, but I'm just as passionate about my children as I am about my career, and I consider my career one of my babies.
And that's tricky, right? Because when at the same time you have these two things, I'm recently an empty nester, so things have changed a little for me.
Congratulations, right? You got them off.
Right? It's like,
Exactly.
although they keep coming back. So I haven't actually had a weekend on my own yet with my husband, but we'll see.
But you will.
But
you will.
Knock on wood. But the dynamic of always having these two competing things,
Yes.
it can really lead to a lot of frustration, a lot of guilt. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Of course. I think as mom, as a mother, there is this consistent guilt of always having to be there for your children. And yes, we are, but there are times when you got to kind of step down and say, I've got people for that. And that's when you've got a fantastic support system. But the guilt, whether someone tries to guilt you, like the conversation we were having prior to coming here, coming on, whether it's a self-imposed guilt, I think that the more we let it go and the more that we realize that as we're strong women, that only helps us to be better moms and to be better role models for our kids, then you're able to step away and say, okay, I can do this just the same as I can be a fantastic mom as well. But the line's very, very gray sometimes.
It definitely is. So I wanted to go back for a second to talk about the fact, I just jumped into other stuff, but I mean, here you are, you work in this very dynamic company.
Very dynamic.
Your whole family.
My whole family. So it's me, my mom, my 2 sisters, my dad, and my ex-husband. So it sounds like a recipe for disaster, but
it would be in my case, your ex-husband.
We just make it work. It's amazing. I was saying to you that I think that the things that make my job the most challenging are also the ones that make it the most rewarding. And I know that my mom and my sisters feel the same way about that as well.
Well, how is it working with family members? And how is it, I would also say, for the other employees that aren't in the family, how is everything sort of structured?
Okay, so working with family members, at times you just want to rip your hair out because, of course, the personal side of things always seem to infiltrate the professional side. So when we're at QVC and we're sitting there saying, oh my gosh, we just had a huge fight about this, but then we've got to go on air and present our very best selves. It's super challenging, but at the end of the day, you realize that they always have your back. You realize that they only want to see you succeed, which is the best part of it. And I've maintained a very healthy relationship with my ex-husband, healthy or unhealthy, however you want to look at it. Some people are like, that seems a little unhealthy. But, and working with my dad, it's a ton of different personalities. But I think at the end of the day, as long as you want to see your business succeed, and as long as you want to keep it moving forward and getting bigger and stronger, then you're able to put the personal differences aside and focus on the professional part of it.
That's really important,
Yes.
I think. So you mentioned like when you go in QVC, and obviously this particular situation, it may not be applicable to so many people, but that you have to take everything aside. Lately in the world, there's been so many things, more than people always dealing with their regular stresses, but lately there have been so many outside stresses that are so magnified that I think it's very difficult for a lot of people then to just focus on whatever it is they're doing work-wise.
It is, but I think that at the end of the day, it's the focus and being able to just kind of put blinders on and block it out, because for us, it's really the second that the red light goes on is when we just shut everything out and say, this is what I came here to do. I'm here to educate our customers. I'm here to help women out there make the best decisions that they can with the first things that they put on in the morning, the things that are underneath our clothes that can either make or break your confidence for the entire day. That's my main focus. And then of course the red light goes off and you're kind of back all flustered and you say, got to get home to take, my son to a hockey game. Oh my gosh, I was just watching the news and but it just is that focus that you have to maintain.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. So talking about confidence, I had mentioned to you that in the past I've interviewed the former CEO, who was the CEO at the time of Spanx, and she said something to me that was really surprising, which was the number one customer for them wore an extra small, which totally blew my mind, because I thought, well, wait a second, thin women, what do they care about being? So can we talk a little bit about confidence and how that plays into your products?
We look at the whole intimate apparel industry and what's available at brick and mortar, and we say to ourselves, it's so geared to what can fit out on the floor, a certain amount of sizes, and whether you're an extra small, a 3X, we're all looking for confidence. Yeah. And the purpose of us at Gendel Girls and what we make is making sure that we can provide something for as many women as possible. We don't focus on the extra smalls, we don't focus on the 3Xs. We focus on making sure that those two sizes and everyone in between, that we've got you covered and that we can help you with your own confidence. Because I don't care what size you are, I think it's a challenge. You wake up in the morning, you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, oh, I wish I could change this, I wish I could change that, I'd love, you start doing this, lifting this up. And at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we can cover one thing to help a woman out. And so we try to do that by offering amazing intimates.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, we try to get all of our women covered.
So I'd like to just ask you, just to sort of close things out, if you had one piece of advice that's helped guide you through your career, and what would it be?
I think that the most important thing is and I know that it's so cliche to say, is to just keep your eye on the prize, stay positive, make sure that you're not burning bridges, make sure that you're helping out all of your fellow colleagues, be them men or women. I think that what we really need right now in the workplace, out in the real world, is just a sense of community in saying, I'm there for you. So if you can offer a helping hand, be it professionally or personally, to the person sitting next to you, then please do it. And the best thing that I can always, my mom always just smile. Sometimes a smile starts someone else's day off in the right way, and you don't know what happened to them in the morning, if they spilled their cup of coffee in the car on the way there, if they got into a fight. you don't know what is making everybody tick. And I think that the most important thing is just smile and try to keep everybody up.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you.
Katie, it was so nice being here. Thank you.
And thank you.